we keep telling these dummies over at Disney that what they're doing is going to result in failure. We've been saying this, right? When they gave us the Kenobi show, right? That was one of the first shows they announced for Disney Plus. Everyone was uber excited, right? Subscriptions through the roof, viewership through the roof. And then we saw that garbage, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and we saw that it was nothing more but the Reva hour, right? This was another attempt by Disney to introduce their diverse, new, inclusive characters, right? Reva, right? They made the show all about her. Failure. Complete failure. Nobody has gone back to watch that shit. Nobody. And that's the thing when it comes to streaming. That's the secret that people don't understand. That's why Netflix is so successful. That's why HBO is kind of successful. Max. It's because they have these shows that people go back and rewatch. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've watched Breaking Bad over and over and over again. Right? The Office, perfect example. People watch it over and over and over again. The Squid Games. People go back and rewatch that show on Netflix. HBO. People go back and watch The Sopranos over and over again. I'm rewatching it right now for like the 17th time. But when it comes to Disney, they really don't have anything you can go back in and rewatch. Nothing. And some people would say, oh, well, they have Mandalorian. Season 1 and 2. Okay. But guess what happens after you watch season 3? You get a horrible, weird taste in your mouth. Almost like you finally got to the end of the sandwich and then you taste a little bit of dog shit. Lizzo dog shit. That's what season 3 is. That's why I really can't go back and rewatch The Mandalorian. Same thing goes for Ahsoka. I can't, I want to watch Balin, these characters, this story, Luke Skywalker. But then you get Sabine. You get what they did to Ezra. And make no mistake about it, it's going to be more of the same in season 2. Right? That's why Disney is failing. Disney Plus had everything afforded to them to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, streaming services ever. I mean, they own Marvel, they own Disney. That's another one, Marvel. These geniuses could have gave us, throw a rock, you can make a great Marvel show. And what do? Fucking She-Hulk? Little Miss Marvel? You dummies? That's what you're gonna try and give us as TV shows? Fucking Echo? Think about this. Netflix was already extremely successful with Marvel shows. Daredevil, Punisher. And then, Disney acquires the shows. And what do? They give us freaking Echo, bro. Echo and what was the other one? The Hawkeye, but it's not Hawkeye. You get the Kate Bishop Hawkeye. They turned the Kingpin into a joke. Anyway, my point is, ladies and gentlemen, that it is for all these reasons that people are doing this right here. Look at this right here. Disney loses 700,000 subscribers amidst price hikes as original content bombs. And this genius, this dummy that wants to run for mayor, I don't know if you guys heard about this, Bob Iger, he wants to run for mayor of Los Angeles. He attempts to spin this as a positive. Let's read this article. Look at this right here. Disney Plus just suffered a major decline, shredding 700,000 subscribers in the first quarter of 2025. The drop follows Disney's recent price hikes, which increased the cost of its ad-supported tier from $7.99 to $9.99 and its ad-free subscriptions from $13.99 to $15.99. Alongside the price hikes, Disney also began cracking down on password sharing, implementing a paid sharing system that restricts access to single households unless subscribers pay an additional fee. Disney CEO Bob Iger tried to downplay the loss during an earnings call, stating that the subscription churn wasn't as bad as expected. He argued that the price hikes were necessary to push Disney Plus towards profitability and framed the drop as a natural part of their strategy. However, with another subscription decline already anticipated for the second quarter of 2025, Iger comments come across a little more than damage control. Yeah, man. I mean, when they make shows like The Acolyte, right? When they hire people like Leslie Headland, this person that, should have never been hired to make a TV show, and then she makes a Star Wars show called The Acolyte, and they promoted this thing like, oh, this is a prequel to the prequels. This is a prequel to The Phantom Menace. And then we get the dog shit that is The Acolyte, right? Where they undid so many things. I mean, you know, the whole thing with Anakin being a virgin of the Force, being born of the Force, these dummies did away with that with the Force twins. You know? Ki-Adi-Mundi in The Phantom Menace. Oh, the Sith have been extinct for a millennia. And yet, like 80 years before, you get this Sith Lord slicing up like all these Jedi, like 70 Jedi, I think he took out, you know, and Yoda doesn't know anything about it. Again, they hire incompetent people to make their Star Wars shows. And that's why they're failing, right? That's why people have turned off. I mean, The Acolyte, think about this. If you would have had a Star Wars show, say 20 years ago, a live action Star Wars show, dude, that would have been like probably the most watched show ever, right? Because it would have been created by George Lucas, most likely, and he would have hired competent people to create this show, but not The Acolyte. Once more, let's read this. At its launch, Disney Plus positioned itself as the home of high-quality franchise content with exclusive Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar projects. It was supposed to be a go-to streaming service for fans of blockbuster entertainment. That hasn't panned out. The Acolyte, for example, Disney Plus hyped it as a major Star Wars series, yet it failed to make an impact. Despite accumulating 2.7 billion minutes of viewership, The Acolyte didn't even break the top 10 most streamed originals of 2024. That's right. It wasn't even, you know, people get hung up on the whole 2.7 billion subscribers, but that's like only 8 million views, right? And that's not counting how many people rewatched it. And in fact, probably nobody rewatched it. When you look at these numbers and you compare them to numbers from like, say, like The Office or Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, I mean, those are nothing. Nothing. And these geniuses wasted what? How much? Like $250 million on that show, on The Acolyte. And a complete failure. So much so that the creator, Leslie Headland, she's done with streaming. She's done making TV shows because she was a failure. You know, so again, I know that Disney, Bob Iger, they're trying to spin this as, oh, well, you know, we expected this. This was bound to happen, but we're eventually going to get to profitability. Because that's another thing that people don't talk about. Disney Plus has not been profitable for Disney whatsoever. Like, in fact, they have lost millions and millions and millions, if not billions of dollars on this thing. And again, it's very simple as to why. It's because Disney chooses to push out ideologies, chooses to push out these woke talking points, and they push this shit out by inserting it into things that we love, like Star Wars. So when we turn on an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and we see that, like, it's really not about Obi-Wan Kenobi at all. It's about Reva for reasons, right? We all know they want to check off those DEI boxes. People are turned off. People turn that shit off and they don't rewatch it. And that's why it just sits there in the Disney Plus menu, you know, collecting dust. I can almost guarantee you, nobody is going back to rewatch the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. And I keep bringing this show up, the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, because this should have been their show. Like, this show encapsulates all of Star Wars, right? You get a taste of the prequels with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen reprising his role as Darth Vader. It connects it to the original trilogy because you get to see a younger Luke Skywalker. It sets him between the two time periods. I mean, it should have been a slam dunk. And if you've read the original plans for this show, for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which was supposed to be 3 movies, you would see that it was going to focus on Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Cody was going to come back and help out Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he was going to watch Luke Skywalker while Obi-Wan Kenobi went off and did what he had to do. I mean, it was a very dark and gritty show that clearly the creator knew Star Wars, understood Star Wars. And so much so that at the time, George Lucas was interested in the show, but then ultimately got sold off to Disney. They weren't interested in making this movie because they saw that standalone movies were, well, they believed that they were not going to be successful because of the Solo movie, which we all know why that movie flopped, is because people were turned off by Star Wars because of the prequels. But anyway, then this show gets turned, then this movie, the Obi-Wan Kenobi trilogy, gets turned into a TV show, and they hire Deborah Chow, I believe, who doesn't know shit about Star Wars. I mean, the writers that went in to rewrite this never saw the prequels. I mean, that's who they hired. But again, the point of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show was not to make a good Obi-Wan Kenobi show. No, it was to introduce new characters like Reva. And I'm telling you, you see that. I see it all the time. These characters that Disney tries to create, their toys are all in the clearance aisles. You know, I've seen the Acolyte main characters, the twins, the Force twins, clearance. Reva, clearance. The freaking Rey's lightsaber on clearance at the Disney theme park, at Disney World. Bro, I'm telling you, that's why Disney Plus is losing subscribers. Because there's really nothing on Disney Plus that you're like, oh, you know what? Let me go rewatch that TV show. Like, seriously, think about it. Tell me down in the comments, what Disney Plus show is there that you're like, you know what? I can go back and rewatch that. I mean, what? Maybe like Clone Wars? That's pretty much it. Maybe like X-Men 97. I mean, I really can't think of anything. I mean, but anyway, you guys let me know what you think down in the comments. You know, I truly do hope that Disney changes. You know, they've made all these promises stating that, oh, you know, we're done with the political garbage. We just want to go back to giving the fans what they want. And so far, I haven't seen that. I mean, they're coming out with this Captain America movie without Captain America, and I get it. That movie was already in production before culture is, pivoted, because it's pivoted. So maybe going forward, we are going to start to see good content again, content that focuses on what fans want to see, on entertainment, not education. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think down in the comments. And like always, don't forget to share and subscribe and hit the notification bell. And like always, don't forget to subscribe. Sensational.